Ah, DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices, we'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Pauly Howard. We are live for the next 3 hours in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Fun program lined up. Nich, Whalen, 30 minutes. Player props for tonight's Monday Night Football doubleheader. Warren Sharp on the program coming up in 90. We'll go to New York. We'll get the New York perspective, I guess, as we go to Miami. Jets Dolphins preview with Dan Leberfeld coming up a little bit later on in the program. We have the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't want to overreact, but we have Week 5 numbers in the National Football League and how these bad boys have been on the move since they were released last night. Plenty of reasons why, Pauly. As Week 4, almost in the books, 2 more games to go yet tonight. We'll get to the injuries. I want to ask you this question because I know that tongue-in-cheek, you were calling the Packers the 85 Bears here to begin the season.
Yeah.
So was that result from Week 1 against Detroit, knowing what we know now about both these teams, the biggest fluke of the season so far?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense because they also followed that up against Washington, who made the NFC title game, and Washington couldn't move the ball. Cleveland couldn't do anything. So you look at the first 3 games, they gave up 2 touchdowns in garbage time, and the other one was set up first and goal off the Love interception. Other than that, they haven't given a lot of touchdowns. And then you're taking on a Dallas team that doesn't have their best player, and you can't get a stop, and they score on 6 out of 7 possessions. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. And then, Parsons not being on the field, Dak all day to throw, guys wide open. You score 40 on the road, you get a tie. The shenanigans late. It's a funny sport. It's a week-to-week sport. I can't explain it after they were so good the first 3 weeks. And then suddenly they couldn't get a stop. I don't know. I was also speechless watching the Charger game. How did the Chargers lose that game? I don't know. What's your take?
Well, I mean, there's 6 yards per play to 3.6 yards per play. Right.
Dart throws for 100 yards.
Yeah, the Giants essentially did nothing in the game offensively, and yet they were in control and winning pretty much the entire time.
Yeah.
So, and then, part of the injuries that we'll get into, Malik Neighbors now, that's horrible. And they go on the road. I think everybody's going to assume this is going to be an easy win for the Giants. I would say not so fast when they play the Saints coming up this weekend. But the Lions now are scoring 30 points kind of on accident. They did it again yesterday. They didn't have a zillion yards. They had fewer than 300. But that's back-to-back. But when you look at the scores, of the final scores anyway, they have covered and blown out their opponent now. Well, the Ravens game was a 7-point game, but they did whatever they wanted to that Baltimore team. And so they're scoring 30-plus, higher than that, and couldn't do a damn thing. I guess that was their preseason game?
That's probably right. What you said it before. I think last night was a fluke, and I think that was more of the Lions were rusty, and that was our preseason game, and let's get the issues out of the way. But to go from the Lions can't even get a first down, and everything's a dink and dunk to we can't slow down Dak and we give up 40.
They were never a threat to even move the football until late.
Right, yeah, right.
Yeah, I guess the other biggest fluke could be Carolina 30, Atlanta nothing. That could be it. And Atlanta, I think, is going to be live to win that division because the Buccaneers are just dropping, players are dropping like flies. That's the story, I think, of the league kind of right now.
I think you're right. You could probably get a long shot or a surprise to make a deep run or make it to the Super Bowl because it's going to be a war of attrition with the guys that are getting hurt and going down. And again, with the 49ers, they can't. Now something wrong with Purdy. It never ends. What's going on in Tampa? You're right, losing key guys left and right. But it's one of those years.
Yeah.
And it's also it's also a weird year with what we've seen with the special teams and a kick is blocked every single week. Or a punt return or multiple. I mean, Philadelphia, right off the bat, 2 minutes into the game, block punt, take it back the other way.
Sure.
After how they ended last week against the Rams.
Yeah, here are the numbers, by the way. 15 blocked kicks through 4 weeks with 2 games to go. We had 9 at this point last year. 11 field goals have been blocked, 4 punts. The field goal thing.
I don't see it changing. There's a jailbreak. If you watch all these games at the same time, there are multiple jailbreaks. I don't know if it's these guys are just too big and they overpowered them, or it's scheme.
Well,
it's what happened in the Dallas game. What happened in the Raider game. But if you watch closely, sometimes they're getting there, but they're just missing. And it's just there's issues up front doing that job.
Did the league send out a memo after the Broncos-Colts finish to like the referees that we may have missed that said, hey, easy with the leverage call? Because that was a BS call. Broncos should have won that game. Colts were gifted a second chance, and then they eventually won. Because I'm telling you, watching these block kicks, like the one I'll give up, and I had the over in the game. I never had a side. So this is not like me telling you I had the Raiders and I thought it was a bad call. That's not it. The final play in the Raiders-Bears game yesterday, was that not leverage on Chicago, what they did to the offensive line for the Raiders? I thought that was maybe even more egregious than the Broncos-Colts finish, but they never called it. Yeah. So maybe they're just saying they're going to crack down on it, and we don't want to have that rule enforced anymore. And I did see this idea thrown out there because of the special kicker balls that we have now. And these guys, they're trying them from 55, 60, 65 yards. And these guys are putting them to the net. They're kicking them lower to get a better trajectory, if I can say that word.
Tough one, yeah.
To go through the goalposts.
Good. Okay, very good.
And if they're kicking them lower, that could be a thing that continues, hence making it easier for the special teams on the defensive side to actually get their hands on the ball. I can buy into that one, Pauly.
Yeah. Not bad. Because I was concerned about that with the Green Bay game going to overtime because I had Green Bay on a teaser. That's like, this is a major mismatch right now. Aubrey can make it from 70, right? And you have kicks blocked routinely. When that came back to bite him. What happened with the block? And that was a total jailbreak. Not only does 2 guys come right through, 3 guys, and then it ricochets and goes right into the arms of the Dallas player, and he takes it in for the 2.
Well, and because of that, they had so many guys behind the line of scrimmage, the Cowboys did anyway, that the Packers, they had no chance to catch the players because they were already 5 yards deep and going the other way. They had a convoy. But I think multiple guys could have blocked that field goal, like you said, or the extra point.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a horrific beat for people who were on Green Bay first half money line.
Yes, it was.
And you never know. People bet all this stuff, right? So I'm sure tons of tickets were out there on that. Maybe even to finish off some full day parlays tied into that game last night. You're telling me they're up 13-0, going to make it 14-0. And because of that result, hold on. We're going to take it for 2 of the other weights, 13-2. It's still 13-2. Dallas had the ball at around the Green Bay 30 with under a minute to play. And you could not win the money line at the first half.
Yep. Packers team total was also 13.5.
Oh.
That's another one. You're right. I could see it coming. It's just like you can run a draw or a screen. Why are you getting aggressive there when you have issues with the kicking game and you could see it coming? You want to dial one up and throw it down the field and whoop, there's the turnover and it changes the game when you were in complete control.
Yep.
I don't get it. Just go to halftime. If you just want to run something safe, so be it. But I thought that was ridiculous how they handled it. And then the nonsense at the end where I don't care if you're going to give Aubrey time. They don't have to score a touchdown and win the game. Who cares if it doesn't worry about Aubrey or how much time's left if you score the touchdown and win the game. But they're so concerned with playing the clock there.
I know.
And then the dump off on second down was stupid. The whole thing was crazy. I can't believe you watch this stuff every week. You see something new or something that just blows your mind.
Well, and I want to know if the guy running the scoreboard, the clock operator.
Got a big break.
Where is he from?
Yes, right.
How was there 1 second on the clock? The fact that didn't show all zeros, I was blown away watching the game live last night. And then, of course, as soon as the field goal is good, people in Survivor contests here at Circa, all across the country and beyond, if you're unfamiliar with this stuff, did your team win? The answer is no. So did they survive? Absolutely not. A tie is a loss in Survivor contests. And I like how Jeff Benson had to send out, you would have appreciated his tweet if you didn't see it. All caps.
I saw it.
A tie is a loss in Circa Survivor.
Yep.
Because you knew for a fact that he was going to get bombarded with people asking that question.
Right. I don't want to overreact right off the bat. they will change this overtime soon. Because the worst thing for everyone involved, fans, players, whatever, people hate ties. And as we talked about with Mike Palm a couple weeks ago, when we talked to our good friend, the lawyer from Chicago, he said, watch out for this because of the new rules. People are going to get knocked out of Survivor. You're going to see more ties. We've already had one.
That's right.
We should have had two. Cowboys-Giants should have been a tie as well.
Fair.
But when both teams get the ball now, this is likely to happen.
And it's only a 10-minute period.
That's right.
That's it.
And people are not going to be fans of this. I'm just talking about everyone's got a bad taste in their mouth when there's a tie afterwards.
Oh, I'm guessing that we're going to have multiple ties this year.
Yes.
That last night was not the only one.
Yeah.
And another thing, I know that they have somehow played 2 unders. I mean, Cowboys are averaging the most yards per game and allowing the most yards on defense. Mm-hmm. So they have the number 1 offense in the league, and they have the number 32 defense overall when it comes to yards. They have blown by the total in 2 of their 4 games. And by the way, the other 2 games, the lightning delay in the opener against Philadelphia, that game was going to fly over. It did not.
Yep.
And I don't know how the game last week against Chicago didn't go over. They had, 30-plus points at halftime, and it completely died? And now they have a 47.5 against the Jets.
Yes.
But I don't think I get better than under in a Cowboys game.
I'm with you. I know. They score 40 points. We get 1 out of Aubrey. What are the odds of that? We couldn't get more from Aubrey. That was a big upset. Save 40% on our football season special with the Follow the Money promo code FTM. VSiN Pro access everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. The daily best bets from every host, every guest, the betting splits, the Mackinnon systems, the prop analyzer, all the props, the guru, the doubleheader. Cohen's up there with a couple plays. Adam Burke, Applebaum. You get lost in all the information. The prop analyzer as well. And the OptiStats. Lock it in, 40% off today. Promo code FTM, VSiN.com/subscribe. So much up there. Tell your friends.
I like this angle tonight as we get into the Monday Night Football doubleheader coming up next. For a quarterback to clear his number that is currently posted. I'll tell you why. On Follow the Money, it's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Come to DSW for the shoes, stay for the fun. Because let's be honest, if shoe shopping isn't fun, are you even doing it right? So go ahead, try something new. Try something different. Good different. Try something that feels like you. You know, the real you. And then definitely brag about it later. Because at DSW, you've got unlimited freedom to play. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW, let us surprise you.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans, help is here. More and more Americans turn to credit cards to get by. National Debt Relief is helping qualified clients reduce what they owe. For many, continuing to struggle making minimum monthly payments could take years to pay off. National Debt Relief has already helped over 550,000 Americans reduce their debt by negotiating directly with their creditors. When you call, you'll be amazed at how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free. If you want off the debt treadmill, visit nationaldebtrelief.com today. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may qualify for significant debt relief. To find out what savings you may qualify for, simply visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Got double header tonight coming up Monday Night Football again. The Dolphins at home laying 2.5 with juice or 3 around even money. Check your books, check your outs. Obviously, the late game Broncos 7.5 in that game. And to talk about them now, we head out to the Progressive guest line. Whalen joins the program with RotoWire. You can follow him on X at WHA, the number 1EN. Nich, thanks for the time. As always, we appreciate it. I was just making my case for a Justin Fields prop in the previous segment. I like his longest rush over 13.5 tonight for various reasons. How did you approach Fields in this game?
Yeah, I think this should be a nice spot for Justin Fields. I'm on board with the longest rush. I'm looking at Justin Fields anytime touchdown tonight. Of course, that would likely have to be a rushing touchdown to cash, but plus 210, I think to me is pretty fair. I mean, you have a Miami defense that's 31st right now in rush defense EPA. They're dead last in success rate allowed on the ground, even worse than the Dallas Cowboys. They're dead last in overall success rate defensively. And, I think early in the season, it's early to say, or easy to say, well, they got crushed in that Colts game. That's bringing down all the numbers. This defense got crushed by New England. Even Buffalo didn't play that well last week, still cruised to a 10-point win. So I think with Miami, we focus so much on the issues with Tua, and is Tyreek Hill happy? Is he going to be traded? Is Jalen Waddle banged up? We forget that this is just not a very good defense whatsoever, a defense that had some very obvious holes coming into the season, and a secondary that might be the worst in football and has some key injuries tonight. So assuming we get the full version of Justin Fields, which I think we will, I think he's fully cleared from concussion protocol, I think this should be a really nice spot for him and that Jets running game.
So you brought up the Cowboys defense there. You're from Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin. How alarmed are you from that performance last night by Green Bay? I couldn't believe what I was watching for like 2.5 hours.
I alarmed on a number of levels. I mean, I think offensively, this was great, right? I think if somebody had told you, hey, the Packers are going to put up 40 in Dallas, you would say, excellent. All right, they're covering the 6.5, no problem. I have so many questions about what Matt LaFleur was doing last night. Really starting, I think it was early second quarter, where the Packers, they come out, they put up 2 touchdown drives. Obviously, you have the extra points not only blocked, but returned for a touchdown. And of course, that ended up mattering, as it always does when something like that happens early in a game. But the Packers, and you guys know this, right? Especially you as a Packers fan, that they have an opportunity to step on the throat of the Dallas Cowboys early in this game. And not once, but twice, Matt LaFleur opts to punt from essentially midfield on 4th and short. They take this delay of game on a 4th and 2. They end up punting. They have a similar situation a couple possessions later. You punt it away again when your offense is moving the ball at will. And I think the one thing I would say in defense of Matt LaFleur is I think he realizes how bad this offensive line is playing right now, and the Packers can no longer just automatically pick up 2 or 3 yards on the ground with Josh Jacobs like they could last season. But I don't know if he's reading too much into that lack of an efficient running game, because the way Jordan Love was playing last night, I don't think the Cowboys defense had any hope to stop him. But the inconsistency that we continue to see from Matt LaFleur when it comes to that aggressiveness, right? You punt twice from midfield, but then with 28 seconds on the clock, you try to score before half, and it leads to a disaster scenario where you fumble and give up a quick touchdown. I don't really know what to make of this Packers team, guys. I really don't. I still think talent-wise, when they're at their best, they're probably a top 5 team in the NFL. But I don't have a whole lot of faith in the coaching. I don't have a whole lot of faith in the special teams. And I'm eagerly waiting news on Devontae Wyatt last night, who left with a knee injury. If he misses significant time, that is a big, big deal for that defense.
Good breakdown. Excellent points. Also, stop worrying about the clock and just go win the game in overtime.
Let's go win the game.
Yeah, take shots in the end zone. I couldn't believe the dink and dunk and how they were managing the clock. The nightcap should be high scoring as well. You got a plethora of bets that you like. It's okay that this is popular. I think it'll still cash as well. Chase Brown over receiving.
Yep. Yeah, the Bengals have to find a way to get Chase Brown involved. I don't know if it's going to be as a traditional running back, because Cincinnati's running game has just been brutal so far. I mean, we're talking, 47 carries for 93 yards on the season for Chase Brown. I don't think that projects to get a whole lot better tonight against this Broncos defense, which maybe hasn't been quite as dominant as we thought it would, but still rates out as a top 10 defense in just about every metric. So I look at the over 21.5 receiving yards, and Amari and Hampton went 6 for 59 on this defense on 7 targets. Jonathan Taylor had a long receiving touchdown on the Broncos defense a couple weeks ago. And that's really kind of the hole right now for the Broncos, is covering those running backs out of the backfield. And you look at Cincinnati coming off of just a worst case scenario offensive game last week against Minnesota. It might not be a great offensive game tonight, but it's not going to be that bad. Teams don't play that poorly 2 games in a row. So even in a tough spot here, Broncos should be able to get after Jake Browning. This is not a very good offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think we see some dump-off opportunities for Chase Brown.
Okay, I was making the case again for Fields to go over his rushing yards prop. You want to do the same thing here with Bo Nix in this game?
I do. I think we're getting a reasonable number here at 21.5 for Bo Nix. And, part of it for me is, Cincinnati, if you look at right now, like they've allowed the fewest rushing yards to quarterbacks in the NFL this season, but they've only allowed 6 carries by quarterbacks because they played Joe Flacco, Trevor Lawrence, and Carson Wentz. And I know you could argue Lawrence and to a lesser degree Wentz, they're semi-mobile, but they weren't in those games. And now you're playing a true mobile quarterback in Bo Nix. So this is really the first time to me this season that they'll have to worry about that. Bo Nix has been a little bit disappointing so far as a rusher. Didn't go to that as much as I thought he would in week 1 against Tennessee. Was able to get it going a little bit these last couple of games, but he's carried the ball 19 times through 3 games. And if you're telling me he's running the ball 6 or 7 times tonight, I like his chances to go over 21.5, and went over that number last week against a much, much better defense than the Chargers.
Very good. I'm with you on that. Longest rush, 11.5 as well, which I like. What happens with Chase tonight? How does Browning move the ball?
That's a very good question. If anything, guys, I was kind of looking at the T. Higgins markets.
Yes.
His season has been off to a disastrous start, and I think it could be a little bit reductive to say, oh, Pat Surtain is just going to be all over Jamar Chase, and that opens up T. Higgins. I kind of think that's how it could go, though. Number one, or step number one, if you're the Broncos defense, is making sure Jamar Chase doesn't have one of those Jamar Chase games that keeps the Bengals in this. And I think that does open things up for T. Higgins. The one game that he kind of got loose was week 2 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's turned out to actually be a pretty good defense in Jacksonville. And he gave them a lot of problems. So Jamar Chase, obviously, a talented enough player. I think the volume should be there, that if you want to make a case for his over, I see it. But to me, the number is low enough now for T. Higgins. We're talking under 50 yards tonight, where he's the guy I would target if you're looking at those Cincy receivers.
Okay. How about the much ballyhooed rookie running back for Denver in the air, R.J. Harvey, right? We heard so much about this guy before the draft, after this landing spot for him being selected by the Broncos. I'm seeing as low as 9.5 for the receiving prop. Did they get it going with him tonight?
Yeah, it depends on what your definition of get it going is, I guess, because what scares me with RJ Harvey is I just don't know how much of him we're going to see, right? We certainly thought he would be a bigger part of this offense by now, given the level of investment. The Broncos go out of their way to upgrade that running back room. And yet, of course, it's J.K. Dobbins leading the way so far. But yeah, I like the over 9.5 receiving yards tonight for RJ Harvey, a guy who could easily just go over that on one reception. And Cincinnati, we can say a lot of bad things about that defense. They have let a number of running backs get loose as pass catchers so far this season. Bashal Tutin, Travis Etienne, Xavier Scott have all gone over this number against Cincinnati just in the last 2 weeks. Again, I stay away from the rushing props when it comes to Harvey because I just don't know how much he's going to be on the field. But if he is going to be involved tonight, I think it's more as that pass catching back.
Very good. Nich, do you think it's time today? I don't want to overreact, but is it time to bet the Steelers to win the division? Earlier today, still as high as plus 290 with the Ravens' problems and their injuries, and or time to bet the Chiefs around plus 140 to win the AFC West.
I think given those options, I would rather bet the Chiefs. I really, really like what I saw from the Chiefs offensively this past week. And maybe it's just as simple as having Xavier Worthy back in the mix. But what I really like with Kansas City is we're 2 weeks away from the return of Rashee Rice. And I think that is when we're going to see this Kansas City Chiefs offense really take off. Now, is it going to be 2022, 2023 levels when you had peak Tyreek Hill? Probably not, but I think it's going to be a significant upgrade from how that offense has looked over the last couple of weeks. We started to see some chinks in the armor for the Chargers this past week, kind of cracking that door open for Kansas City. Very difficult schedule, of course, the rest of the way for the Chiefs, but this to me is a team that's picking up some confidence. So I would look into Kansas City for sure. I'm still not totally sold on the Steelers, guys, but at the same time, you mentioned the big thing with Baltimore. It's not only that they're 1-3, it's the injuries all over this roster, right? We have no idea if Lamar Jackson is going to play this week. They lost 2 key pieces defensively. Madubuike is done for the year. He's not coming back at any point. Nate Wiggins is banged up. Marlon Humphrey might end up missing a month, and 2 really difficult games coming up for a struggling offense and a team that just cannot run the ball right now. This has been an astoundingly bad start for Derrick Henry.
Yep, totally agree. Nick, thank you as always. Good luck with the bets. Enjoy the games tonight. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
There you go. Make sure you follow him on X as well, at WHA1EN, Nick Whalen, RotoWire. So I'm looking right now, Pauly, at an updated win total for the Baltimore Ravens. It's 10.5. They're 1-3, like you said. Houston and the Rams, both of those are at home on deck. The bye, Chicago, they still have to go at Minnesota this year. They have Pittsburgh twice. Yeah. They got at Green Bay. They might get Cincinnati when Burrow is back. They're going to win 11 games?
I think the schedule's doable and they can do it. But the problem is you're down 8 guys on defense, and what happens with Lamar? And they can't get the running game going.
Yeah.
I mean, what's with this 40 yards every game with Henry? I never would have envisioned a scenario where it's like, okay, well, Ravens are going to miss the playoffs after what we watched week 1 for 3 quarters.
Yeah, it's another number that I think you needed to at least take a peek at anyway. Pauly's going to run down all the big tickets that cashed over the weekend, the landing spots, the bad beats, win-lose next here on VSiN.
Follow the money on VSiN.
We'll dive into another angle tonight for the Monday Night Football doubleheader coming up here in a few moments as Warren Sharp joins the program now, as he does every Monday during the football season. At this time, follow him on X at Sharp Football, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. Warren, thanks for the time as always. I want to begin with all these blocked kicks that we saw again yesterday, and we've had so far through 4 weeks. Here are the numbers that I have. 15 blocked kicks on the year. We had 9 at this time last season. 11 field goals have been blocked, and 4 punts have been blocked. Do you have any theory as to why this is happening and if it will continue?
Yeah, I got 2 theories. The first one relates to, and yeah, my records, I'm showing that this is the most blocked kicks through week 4 that we have had since at least 2000. And there's still 2 games left to be played in terms of field goals, extra points, etc. I think teams, in studying how to slow down the Eagles' tush push, have started focusing more on what the snapper is doing with the ball and when they're moving it. And after the game with the Raiders and the Bears were telling the media that their own long snapper studied the long snapper of the Raiders, and every time before he was about to snap it, he would turn the ball just a little bit. And so they got that tell, and they were able to jump it a little bit a couple times earlier, almost blocked it, and finally got it on this last one. So the centers and the long snappers specifically have to figure out ways to get less predictable with what they're doing. But the other big thing I found, guys, this is my speculation, is that we are seeing the kickers now being able to prep the footballs that they use, the K balls, longer time. That's why they're able to kick from deeper, because these balls are more worn in by the time they get to go out there. They're not just like plastic balls, like some of these harder balls that they were kicking previously. Well, one of the issues is now they feel so good about their range, their distance, that they are only really focused on accuracy. And when you're thinking along those lines, think about it when you're standing back there behind the holder. You are going up and walking up to the football a little bit slower because you're mainly focused on accuracy, not so much power. You don't need to go as quick in your run up to the kick because you're going quicker when you need to get more power. They feel good about their power. They're worried about their accuracy. Well, now the issue is that progression is a little bit slower than what it's been in years past. And all that matters is a fraction of a second. How many times have we seen kicks last year, the year before, where there's somebody about to block it, but he's just barely a split second late and still goes through? Now some of those kicks are getting blocked because there's just a fraction of a second slower with the run up. So I think that there needs to be a little bit of improvement on the long snapper and a little bit of improvement on these kickers as they make the run up. If they're going to be as slow and as patient because all they're worried about is accuracy, they need to begin a little bit sooner, their process a little bit sooner after the snap occurs. But the offense needs to figure this out on the special team side of the ball. The defense has done their work. They've blocked some of these. They've figured out some tells and other strategies. Now it's on the offense to make some corrections, and those are a couple of things I think they could do.
We got to respect the Eagles. They're the champs. This is incredible. They've won 20 of their last 21. But this is wild, not sustainable. How they doing this? Down 19 in the third quarter, they win. 200 yards, win. Don't complete a pass in the second half, win. You know, when the big four play and are healthy, they haven't lost since week 2 last year of Monday night against Atlanta. But what do you think about what Philly's doing here to be 4-0 and what's not happening with the offense?
Yeah, exactly. There's no formula for success here. Everything, they have to figure out something new every single game. This is a team that's just coming up with ways to win, but they're not actually very good offensively. Here are some stats. They're averaging just 3.5 yards per carry on the ground offensively. That's number 29. Their passing offense ranks number 25 in success rate. They rank 29th in distance to go on third down and third down avoidance. They are number 1 defensively in the red zone, and they are number 2 offensively in the red zone. And that pretty much is what is saving them, aside from some of these other things like turnovers, like blocked kicks. Like you mentioned, they were going to lose to the Rams despite being down big in the first half. Then they block a couple of kicks, end up winning that game. They're up big. They block a punt last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're just not a good offense right now, but this is a testament to how well this team is built, because they have enough players and enough depth that they know the more plays that are on the field, the more frequently they're going to have something go their way, even if it's not sustainable. I view this as actually a good thing for their future. Yeah, they probably should have lost at least one game at this point in time, and they're undefeated. But they're able to work through these issues, and they're going to be a lot better later on in the season as a result of it. They can't be much more worse than they are right now. Number 29 in rushing, passing, third down distance to go. That red zone efficiency will regress, but I expect some of their other markers where they're bottom 5 in the NFL to improve to try to help save this team in the future. But it's definitely a hard team to beat. You got to kill them twice. You can't just try to kill them once. They got another life in them, basically.
Yeah, well said. And potentially scary if they get all this stuff, if and when they get that all corrected. I watched a lot of the Jacksonville Niners game yesterday. I thought they looked pretty good. Like, I think they got some dudes on defense. Look, like you, I'm not the biggest Trevor Lawrence fan on the planet at all, but they're 3-1. Nice win yesterday on the road against San Francisco. What did you notice from them? What have you noticed through 4 games? And do you think they're good?
Well, I don't know if they're good. They're much improved defensively from what they have been in years past. But the biggest thing, I expected a little bit more out of this offense with Liam Cohen. But hey, they're getting these wins. But where they're really making a punching chances, those punch outs defensively with the fumbles created. So I went back and looked at stats through the first 4 weeks, and we are seeing the lowest rate of interceptions that we have seen in the NFL since at least 2000. But what we are seeing is that turnovers are making a bigger difference in terms of wins and losses than we've seen in the past. And specifically, if you look at, where's the stat here? Teams winning the turnover battle this year are 37-5. That's 88%, the best mark through week 4 since 2000.
Wow.
Teams with a positive fumble differential loss are 21-2-1 on the season if they don't lose the turnover battle on interceptions. The Jacksonville Jaguars are one of the best teams in the NFL at getting in there. They've really emphasized it this year, trying to punch the ball on some of these tackles. Their net turnover EPA is number 2 in the NFL. They've got the four opponent fumble recoveries, second most only to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I went back and looked at the first 4 weeks of the season here. There are 9 teams that have forced at least 5 fumbles this year from their opponents. Only one of those 9 has a losing record. That's the Las Vegas Raiders. 6 of the 9 are either 4-0 or 3-1. So yes, interceptions are down. Quarterbacks are being a little bit more careful. They're throwing it shorter. It's hard to get interceptions. You got to figure out a different way to get those turnovers, and you got to go and be a little bit more aggressive defensively, trying to strip the ball out, punch the ball out, get those fumbles out, because that is really making a difference for teams winning games this year.
How about a prop you like in the late game with Denver and Cincinnati?
I'm going back to Chase Brown. I'm not going back to him, but he's a running back going up against the Denver Broncos. And so I'm going back to that situation. I like his receiving yards over 18.5 right now in a lot of books, although I still see several books out there that have 16.5. So shop around, see what you can get on that one. But Chase Brown, look, this team is going to be under pressure a lot. The Denver Broncos have the number 2 highest blitz rate, the number 2 highest pressure rate. And running back passes against the Denver Broncos have had a lot of success. They average the highest yards per attempt of any defense out there is running back passes against this Denver Broncos defense. Quarterbacks have to get rid of the ball. They have to do something, and the Denver Broncos are really good defending perimeter receivers. They're good defending tight ends. They're not so good defending running backs in the passing game. I think Chase Brown will struggle on the ground here against the Denver Broncos run defense, but the way that they can offset that is by throwing him the football a little bit more out of the backfield, and I think he can hit this low number.
Very good. That's a great observation, because I saw it as high as 21.5 earlier today, but you're right. There are plenty of 16.5s out there right now. Brown to go over. Terrific stuff as always, Warren. Thanks so much for the time. Best of luck.
Thanks, guys. You too.
There you go. Follow Warren Sharp on X at Sharp Football, and he joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line.
The Eagles are the second team in the last 90 years to start 4-0 and get outgained in all 4 games. The 2012 Cardinals did it. They finished 5-11, and Whisenhunt was gone.
Yeah, so that obviously, like, the wins are not going to continue to be there if this happens. But as Warren was saying, that's probably going to correct itself. And then with a team that wins this often, once they actually get good at playing football, despite having a tough schedule, well, then forget about it, Paul.
Yeah.
Can we get a fully healthy Philly and fully healthy Detroit matchup in the playoffs.
Yeah, please.
I don't care when it comes, is at some point in the playoffs.
I know you're big into the Bible. I know. We talk about it during the break. But Brown tweeted, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. So now they got to put out that fire about what's going on. I agree with what he said, though, after last week. Let your killers be killers. Stop going conservative. Let's open it up. Let's take shots. What's going on?
It's a very popular prop for tonight. Right?
Jay says yes.
Okay.
That's AJ,
Yeah. Okay, so how could one of the most dramatic and exciting games in the NFL yesterday actually be bad? I'll explain next.
DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices, we'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans, help is here. More and more Americans turn to credit cards to get by. National Debt Relief is helping qualified clients reduce what they owe. For many, continuing to struggle making minimum monthly payments could take years to pay off. National Debt Relief has already helped over 550,000 Americans reduce their debt by negotiating directly with their creditors. When you call, you'll be amazed at how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free. If you want off the debt treadmill, visit nationaldebtrelief.com today. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may qualify for significant debt relief. To find out what savings you may qualify for, simply visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
The guy has an algorithm to determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're right.
All right. Some winners, some losers. Nothing great. I did nail the Reds thing. I just couldn't believe the price that the Reds, a game back with the tiebreaker, were 3 to 1 to make the playoffs, and how bad the Mets have been playing. And not only do the Mets lose 2 out of 3 in Miami, they get shut out with that $300 million payroll on the final day of the season when the Reds also lost. What a way to close the season.
They went to Diaz, I think, in the 5th inning yesterday, 4th or the 5th inning.
Did they?
Because they were in so much trouble.
I'm glad that he owned it afterwards. I feel kind of bad for the guy. But Maneo was so good last year. And he just said, it starts with me. I couldn't stay healthy. I was awful. And
you know, the whole time, Paul, though, like we were trying to come up with which team is going to make it. I know you had the Reds eventually minus 130. But we were kicking around other teams, Giants 12 to 1.
I had some of that.
Diamondbacks were big.
Yeah.
It was right there for us the entire time. And it was the Mets to miss at a huge number.
That was a good price. Yep. You're right. So the Reds make it winner. Red Sox to miss 6 to 1, no good. Royals to make it plus 440. They fell apart. Giants 8, 10 to 1. They had the lead. They actually had the lead for the final wild card. And then they had a 2-9 run, and Bob Melvin got fired today. How about that? Vikings money line loser against the Steelers. No overtime game this week, week 4. Tough one with what happened last night. Chargers Giants under. The ATM continues. This bet game's under if the Giants are at home and if the Giants are underdogs, or if it's September or October. Another one. 23-2 under run. Giant home game since 2019, September, October. Crazy. Dicker over 1.5. Couldn't get there. Kicking props went 2 and 3 this week. Will there be a shutout Friday in Major League Baseball? No. Plus 425 cash. I think there were 5 or 6 yesterday. And the Guardians go down Friday against the Mariners. All the new plays. I like the Rams. I bet that early. That was 3 against the Niners. That has gone crazy. That was the look-ahead line. Now Purdy doesn't look like he's going to go. More injuries for the Niners. That's up to 5.5. And I like the Rams a lot. McVay's been great in this spot on Thursday nights. Seahawks laying 3 against Tampa. Tigers to win the series against Cleveland, $1.15. Fields to have 40 yards rushing or more, minus 180. Chiefs, 180 on the money line against Jacksonville Monday night. Ollie Gordon, anytime touchdown, plus 290. Bo Nix, longest rush, over 11.5. Good luck, everyone.
Back at you, Pauly. Recapping the plays from the weekend. Aaron Rodgers did stay under 213.5 passing yards. That was with that long 80-yard touchdown pass to DK
right?
Metcalf. Yeah,
No.
Oh, yeah. I think he had 200. So didn't do much there. That's, again, the Vikings were just bad on defense in that spot, and Kenneth Gainwell ran all over him as well.
Yep.
This is something really to monitor with Quentin Johnson.
Okay.
13 targets again yesterday, 8 for 98 and a touchdown. He's got 4 scores on the year already. He's averaging 15.3 yards per catch. He flew over the 49 and doubled it up, in fact, yesterday, over 49.5 receiving yards. And he is turning into, especially with the game state and they're down the entire time, they're going to be throwing the football. He is emerging here right in front of us as like Herbert's number 1 weapon. And then Turpin got over by the hook.
How about that?
Now, that's the only bet that I have in pocket here. I ended up laddering him last night for smaller bets. They did not cash, but they took shots to him a couple of times.
Yeah.
And they had chances to really break it open. But so that's why I'm really questioning the Green Bay defense overall. Dallas did a damn good job against that team last night. And so those are the old plays. Moving forward here. I'll expand on this coming up in the next half hour on prime time. But Justin Fields over 13.5 for the longest rush tonight.
Yeah, like it.
And for next Sunday, this is the timing of this today was pretty remarkable because on the Sunday show, I told you about 2 sneaky teams I liked for Survivor yesterday. One was New England, the other one was Atlanta. I like to do that every week.
Yeah,
look at sneaky teams for Survivor. And I was literally looking at the schedule for this week, and I said, Saints are a sneaky team to consider this week in Survivor against the Giants. Within minutes, I got a text from somebody who I completely respect and said, I am going to be all over the Saints this week.
Oh, my God.
So I am, and this is also trying to get, this number has been moving now. Giants were 2.5 earlier today. This is at Circa. It's not a huge bet, a smaller bet, because it is Spencer Rattler, and he's never won a game. But I'm taking the Saints pick 'em here at Circa, like every other book's 1.5 right now. So yeah, I'm betting on a guy who's never won a game in the NFL.
G-Bank built with sports bettors in mind. Right now, you can earn a $50 cashback reward bonus once you're approved and your account's open with the G-Bank Visa Signature Card. Most credit card, street sportsbooks, and gaming transactions as cash advances, even when it's your own money. G-Bank treats them as regular purchases. No cash advance fees. You save up to 3 to 5% on every deposit. 1% cash back on all eligible sportsbooks and gaming transactions. 2% cash back on everything else you buy. Apply now, VSiN.com/GBank, baby. VSiN.com/GBank. I don't want to
I got there right before you did.
I don't want to overreact, but that announcement at halftime was dog bleep. I cannot believe Bad Bunny is doing the halftime show. You can take it away. That is outrageous. And I know we can't agree on anything. He will get destroyed. With the tweets.
You can see it from a mile away. From a year away or whatever it is. Yeah.
God, that's terrible.
Okay, so we got to stop. We got to stop sitting here pounding the table for Metallica. It's never going to happen. They're never going to have a rock band ever again. It's going to be to cater to the younger demo for sure. They're going to try to get teenage girls involved in watching the Super Bowl.
That's ridiculous, though. That's ridiculous. Everyone watches the Super Bowl.
But why complain?
Why can't you have rock, though?
It's never. But here's the thing: go beat your head against a brick wall because it's going to do no good. They're never going to do it.
Yeah, I understand. And that's but I can still complain, and I can still say, why aren't you trying to get? You don't have to just aim it to one demographic. Everyone watches the Super Bowl.
Of course, okay. But this is why we were really pushing for it this time. It's the second time now that they're going to have the Super Bowl in Santa Clara with that new stadium, right?
Yeah.
And Metallica's from there. This is it. And again, you could have Miley Cyrus. performed with them before. Yeah. And it sounds good, right? You could have that. But here's a hot take for you. It's still not as bad as when they had Coldplay over Metallica 10 years ago.
Most agree, yeah.
Coldplay's worse than Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
But this is going to...
I don't care.
My first thought was he is going to get absolutely smoked. It doesn't matter how good it is. He's going to get killed for his halftime show. Yep. And I don't want to...
You can say, I don't care. I'll just get a suite at the Spear, and I'll watch Metallica when they have the residency, and then, F you, Goodell.
Okay, so evidently it came to my attention as well before last week when the debut was coming out. They dropped it at the theater last week for another battle. One battle after another, right?
Yeah.
It was 10-1 last week at this time. Okay. It dropped to minus 125. Yes. I went to go see it on Friday night. 2.5 hours. DiCaprio is awesome. I didn't even know Sean Penn's in the movie. You're going to hate everybody is going to absolutely despise Sean Penn.
Why? The character?
The character. Yeah. But you're going to love DiCaprio because when your ex hit megabucks for $17 million, the first time I came over to her brand new 7,000 square foot mansion to watch games with you, you wore your robe the entire time. And I don't know if you had anything underneath the robe. I don't know. You won't go change.
I had shorts on.
Leonardo DiCaprio wears the robe in
the
entire movie.
No. My kind of guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I
once ate Thanksgiving dinner in a bathrobe.
So would I like to have 10-1 in pocket for best picture?
Right.
I would.
Uh-huh.
Am I telling people you need to go bet minus 150 or whatever's right now? I would not. Partially because I'm not up on all these other movies. And I also think the Smashing Machine, which debuts like next week or whatever, I think that's going to take off. I'd rather have Smashing Machine at 25-1, not even knowing about the movie yet, not even watching it yet.
Yeah.
And it's not the best movie of all time. So just stop it right there.
Yeah.
But we went to go see it in IMAX. It's very good.
Good.
It's unique, and I don't even know what the comp is to the movie.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Black Rabbit, B-. Ran out of steam. Great start, ran out of steam. Very similar in terms of Your Friends and Neighbors. Unbelievable start, but it's just they didn't have enough for 8-9 episodes. Your Friends and Neighbors, great close. I can't say the same about Black Rabbit, but I do recommend it.
All right.
Props here quickly. Will any team throw a 3-pitch inning, 13-1, immaculate inning plus 850, 4 home runs in a game, 50-1, cycle 11, triple play 9-1. Interesting stuff for the playoffs at DraftKings. Caesars will add some stuff, I'm sure, tonight or tomorrow.
We're going to hang out for another half an hour tonight with the boys on VSiN Primetime. Tim Murray and Matt Youmans will really get into these two games, one of which is starting in like 20 minutes. But I'll expand on why I like the Justin Fields prop to go over longest rush coming up next.